Welcome to Thriving Entrepreneur with your host, Steve Kidd, third-generation minister and 30-year business coach. Listen in as amazing, world-changing authors, speakers, and coaches share their struggles and victories. And hear from best-selling authors' insight into how you too can live your life as a thriving entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome to Thriving Entrepreneur. Thanks for being with us here today. I'm so excited to be here with you today as we talk about how massively, powerfully important you are in the world. You're a rock star. You have unlimited, unbelievably explosive potential. You are so amazing. And I just can't even, I'm just beside myself even thinking about the incredible opportunity that is presented to me to be able to spend some time here today talking to you about how incredible you are. What an advantage. Thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you. I'm here today to bring you a couple of really great guests, but to also unleash to you a possibility that I hope you already have. I hope that really this is all just kind of like, reinforcement to you about how amazing you already know you are. But just in case nobody's ever told you it before, you're incredible. You really are. You're amazing. In fact, literally all of creation moved in order for you to come into existence. The world needed you so badly that everything in the whole of the universe, in all of history that was, came together in the moment that became your inception, your creation, the beginning of your life. You're that powerful, you're that needed, that necessary, that incredible. And I'm so excited, so delighted, and so grateful to be here today to share with you your potential, your possibility, what's going on for you and in your life today, right where you are. Now, some of you are thinking, if you're listening live, you're like, well, COVID's still out there, and maybe some of you still have companies that you either own that aren't opened up or that you work for that aren't opened up, and it can be really disheartening. It can be a really easy time right now to lose hope, to lose faith, and worst of all, to not see how incredible you are, to stop believing in yourself, in the plan for you, and in the purpose of you being on this planet. And I want more than anything during our hour here together today to be able to help reinforce for you just what an amazingly wonderful, magnificent, precious gem you are. I hope you know it, but in case you don't, in case you've forgotten, or worse yet, in case you never knew, I want you to hear this really clearly. You are an amazingly incredible, awesome, unbelievably powerful, precious gem. You were created for a purpose. The world needs exactly you. The world is a better place every time you simply just show up as you. You don't have to do anything else. Just be the best version of you. We've had Tony Robbins, Oprah, whomever, your go-to guru may be. And they did a great job at being themselves, at holding down the space that the world had for them. But there's a powerful place for you, a place that needs you, where we can celebrate who you are, what you do, and the amazing thing that you bring to this world. That's right again, I'm talking about you. Like I said before, you're a rock star. You have unbelievably, incredibly mind-blowing potential. Some of it you've tapped, some of it you don't even know exists in you yet. I encourage you, at whatever level you're at, whether you be, unemployed, gutter dragging, whatever would be your definition of I'm at my lowest, or you be the most powerful person on the planet, I want you to know and see there's an up level from where you are right now. There's more. You can do more. You can be more. You can impact the world even more than what you already are. Right here, right now, today. And it's really simple because all you've got to do is just be you. That's it. Nothing else. Just be you. Just simply allow the world to see the radiant, magnificent, wonderful, beautiful you that is you. That's it. That's all you need to do. I know. I make it seem so easy. And I know you may even be saying, but Steve, you don't understand what I'm going through. And you're right. I don't know specifically. But I know what it's like to go through things. Even right now today, as I talk to you, there are some things in my own life that I'm in process with. I can tell you that I'm in a better place now than I was a couple of months ago, a much better place than I was 6 months ago, and a way better place than I was a year ago, because I continue growing. I can tell you that I went through a phase in my life where growth was not part of how I showed up in the world. I was hiding. I was what I call in my book a zombie, walking around really dead, but just not having the politeness to lay down, not showing up in the world, not doing the thing that I can do to make a difference in the world. Really, that's the only difference between success and failure. You see, we look at all the things, money in the bank, what kind of car do we drive, what kind of house do we live in, whatever kind of trappings or things or stuff that we're looking at, and we don't see what a glorious, magnificent, victorious winner you already are. You're more powerful than you can ever imagine. And here's the best part about it. You're you. Yeah, you're you. Just by simply waking up this morning, still being you, you won. You're the winner. You are the absolute victor for the race of today in living your life. Nobody else does it. Nobody else can do it for you. Now your only question is, because you know at the end of today when you lay your head on the pillow, you're going to have crossed the finish line of your day as the number one first place winner. Now the question is, what kind of a victory do you want today to be? Tomorrow will take care of itself. Yesterday had its successes and failures, but that's not the point. Right now, all I want you to look at, think about, and focus on is what can you do today to be the best version of yourself today. That's the secret to living as a thriving entrepreneur. Maximizing while it's called today. Nothing more, nothing less. Just simply with yesterday's successes and failures, with today's struggles and victories, that we simply commit ourselves to showing up in the best way we possibly can in the midst of all the things that are in our day, and be the best version of ourselves right here, right now, today. I hope you can take a hold of that, because as you grab a hold of that and you hold on to it tightly and you live with a maximizing today as your goal, you will be a thriving entrepreneur. We're going to take our quick first commercial break, and then we will be right back here on Thriving Entrepreneur. Don't go away.
If you're an author who's on a mission, stand out with your brand out. Check this out, guys. Yep, everything's marketing, and marketing is everything. Your existing book can become a best-selling book, or even, hey, like mine, a #1 international best-selling book in 5 days. Listen, if your business isn't known by everybody, it's obscurity, and that's death, right? The same thing is true for your book. If you're not happy with the way your book is performing, you got that far and then it just fell off the face of the planet kind of feeling, go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Schedule a talk with Steve. It's risk-free, it's guaranteed, it's proven. We've done it thousands of times. What are you waiting for? Yes, yourbestsellertoday.com. This time next week, you could have a beautiful seal on your book and get the attention that you deserve. Reach the people that you came to serve. Come on now. What are you waiting for? Grab a pen. Here we go. All you got to do is book a call, yourbestsellertoday.com. Go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Book a talk with Steve. It's proven, it's guaranteed, it's gonna happen. All you have to do is say yes to your destiny.
Welcome back to Thriving Entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome back. Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today. You can probably hear the fan blowing across the microphone as I sit here, even though it's like 9 o'clock at night as I'm recording some of this and doing the production. It's still nice and warm here in Southern California. And today I'm coming here to you to try to help you see what an amazing, powerful creation you are, so that you can show up as the best version of yourself and really truly be a thriving entrepreneur. So let's jump into our first guest. All right, now don't all of us want to be a jukebox hero? Come on. We want to be a rock star in whatever it is that we do in this world. So we need somebody who is the human hitman to help us escalate everything that we're doing to that top level of rock star success. None other than the human hitman himself, Jonathan George. Jonathan, thanks for joining us here on the show today.
Hey, it's great to be on with you, Steve. Thank you.
So, Jonathan, tell us just a little bit about your background and who you are.
Well, I started out as a singer, and I moved to Los Angeles in 2000. And I was on the grand champion winner on Ed McMahon's Next Big Star. And I had a record deal on the table. I had it's like the pinnacle of my career. This was like the dream life. And that's when record labels were actually given record deals. And I had just released a single, and they Googled my name and found out that I was gay and completely retracted the contract. They stopped all communication. My team went to this whirlwind to get me married, change my music, change everything about me. And all I heard was, "You're not good enough." And, I'd already spent a lifetime of being bullied, for being the creative kid, not playing sports in Dallas, and then my dad's a pastor, and the spiritual abuse that I went through growing up, I always heard this theme of "you're not good enough." And so here I sat, I was 26 years old, sitting in my living room, just going, what do I do? And I made a decision right then and there to walk authentically with who I am, to be ethical in everything that I do, and be loyal and honest to me. And I made a decision to help people rock the person that they are, rather than try to change them and make them different from who they are. And I have spent the past 20 years as CEO of JG Entertainment, creating Rockstar brands for some of the top vocalists in the world, as well as entrepreneurs and influencers with over 150 million online followers. And, I pride myself in helping people build an authentic personal brand that draws the right people to them, creates authority in their space, and to create success for whatever it is that they want to do. So that's what I've been doing for 20 years because I'm so passionate about it, because I went through it myself, you know.
Now I totally feel like I just want to put my head in my hands and sit down and listen to you tell me how to become a rock star.
Well, you know, the key is understanding, you know, whether you are a stay-at-home mom and you want to be the most powerful stay-at-home mom, whether you want to be a well-known doctor in your space, whether you're an entrepreneur. I mean, think about a podcaster. What makes you be the person that we're going to listen to? Why Steve Kidd over the other, you know, million podcasters that are out there? And it is all about understanding who you are at your core and showing up in that 100% authentically and authenticity as well as vulnerability. And so those are the biggest things. And here's the thing, Steve, is that most people, the thing that holds people back is fear. It is the thing that is, whether that's that insecurity, whether that's the fear of being judged, whether that is the fear of somebody saying no to us or not buying into us. We have this fear. And the thing is breaking through that fear is understanding who you are and how to show up in the world. You got to understand your superpowers. You got to understand your flaws. You got to understand your personal journey and your personal story. Understand your why. Why are you showing up in the world? Why do you want to be a part of this group? Why do you want to be the best? What is that? And once you can crack that and you understand, then you can go and show up and be the freaking rock star that you were born to actually be.
I have a really interesting question for you.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes that really who you are isn't necessarily something that lends itself to obvious monetization. Like, you know, if you were really good rebuilding cars, you know, then you can kind of think where the money path is on that. But what about people who what they're really good at is encouraging, helping, supporting people, those more emotional support kind of things that are, you know, they don't have a specific, yeah, the value of that in the market is X. What works for them?
Well, the reason why people want to help is usually there's a big why. What is that why? The reason why I wanted to help people, here I was a singer. I, you know, had a music degree. And I, you know, there are thousands of vocal coaches out in the world. Why was I any different? There are people much more gifted than I am musically. But what happened was that when I understood my why, then I became very powerful in what I was doing. So you take a coach who is, you know, a master practitioner license, that has a master practitioner license in neurolinguistic programming or social emotional intelligence, or, you know, a therapist. Why do you want to do that? Why do you actually want to help people? What is your journey? What is your story? And if you think about this, Steve, is like when you watch America's Got Talent, it's never about the talent. It's about their story first. That is the first thing that we see in people. And if you don't have that story to draw people in, then you're just another coach. You're just another person out in the world. But when you have a why and you can share that with people, then it makes it very powerful for people to be like, oh my gosh, you're not just like some powerhouse. You actually identify with me. You identify with my hurt. You identify with my pain. You identify with my fears. And so that's the reason why your why and your personal story is so powerful. And you must dive into that in order to gain the authority in your space, to gain that influence, that impact, and the success to draw in the right clientele. It's so powerful.
I bet you get this question all the time, but and I don't know if we have time to go into it in the minutes that we're going to spend today, but how does a person discover what their why is?
I think the biggest thing is understanding what, when you ask yourself, why do I want to, like I have the whole system set out for people, you know, like when we're working on who you serve and why are you serving those people. Once you understand who you serve, meaning, you know, you're like, what do you mean serving? I'm not a waiter, but you serve people, you serve a demographic of people. Who is that target audience that you're serving? And why are you serving those people? And if you can't understand your why, then you're probably not in the right space. Because here's the thing, your why is, and I know you're asking a term of you know, like how do you get to that why? But you just ask the simple question, what is it here? Why am I passionate about this? Why do I care about this person? Why do I care about serving these people? And if you can't answer that why, then you've got to dive deep in and figure out that you're really in the right space. Because if you're like I just want a financial gain, people are going to see through that. People, you know, you're not going to serve your people wholeheartedly. And that's the key is, you know, you want to serve your people with everything that you've got. And you've got to have a passion behind it. You've got to have the dream behind it. You've got to have that burning desire to help improve somebody's life.
That's powerful stuff.
You know, because if you don't have that burning desire, burnout's going to happen quickly. You're going to lose out on clients. You're going to be dried up. You're not going to be happy. And, you know, the whole thing in our life is we need to be happy doing what we're doing. And as entrepreneurs, you know, speaking really heavily into entrepreneurs, people that are going out and following something that they have in their heart, they have something in their, you know, that desire, that burning desire to do something and make an impact. Every one of us has a why. There's a reason why. And it's right below the surface. If you just ask yourself, why am I doing this? And that answer will come pretty quickly.
Love it.
But here's the key thing, Steve, is how you articulate that. You know, I've been in huge masterminds with, you know, big gurus, and people are spending so much money, you know, $50,000 a year in these masterminds and then their companies. And you go to look at their website, and I'm thinking, well, this is why you're not having the success that you're wanting. You're not telling me any kind of story. You're not articulating who you are and who you're serving and why you're serving. And that's the reason why it's, you know, and people who know that kind of thing, they walk in such a confidence and such a power. And, you know, you'll be like, man, they're a freaking rock star at what they're doing. It's because they understand all of those aspects and they know how to show up powerfully in that.
I love it. We'll have to just have you on sometime next time I do our writing workshop and say exactly all of those things all over again that I'm always teaching to our authors.
Yes, 100%.
Absolutely.
I'd love to.
I know that you always then get to the point, well, not always, but a lot of people, you hit that resistance point with them. They don't really want to expose their stuff out because, like us, they've been judged.
Yes.
What would you say to somebody to help them move out of that judgment zone and into the powerful zone?
Oh man, Steve, this year has been, you know, I've always been the person helping people, and I've never stepped out on a stage to have to teach or to, you know, really share my story, you know, because I was working with younger people and parents, and I just, you know, fortunately for me, my career kind of took off early on, and I became the kind of go-to person out here in LA. But as I started moving into a different space of helping more than just musicians and singers, and I was helping entrepreneurs, I had to start telling my story. And here's the thing is, you know, I told my story in the beginning of this, but what was the crazy thing was that, you know, my whole life seemed like the thing that was holding me back was being the gay guy, you know, whether it was church, whether it was a kid, whether that was in my music. I did not want to tell my story. I didn't want to share that story because I wanted to actually go against that because I'd always had it. I was always about that. But what I realized that when I told my story, it just made me, people could identify with me. It's not going to be your same story, but we all have the same story, a feeling that we're not good enough. We have those insecurities. So when you can share that with people, people automatically begin to trust you. They see that there's a powerful whirlwind underneath you of why it's important to help me. Why are you going to help me? How are you going to help me? And why am I going to pick you? And so, why am I going to choose you to help me when there's 1,000 other people that I could pick up the phone and call? And so it's that people identify with your story. And if I can just say this, here's the other side, the flip side. If you don't tell your story, you could be just like my girl, Michaela Phillips, who was on America's Got Talent last season. She was the Golden Buzzer winner. And she went up against a doctor, this good looking doctor guy who fostered kids on his spare time. You're up against a girl whose family he came to America, gave up everything they ever had to fulfill her dream. And then you had my girl, Michaela, who seemed like the perfect privileged white girl whose parents were, a teacher and a fireman. So she didn't have a story that pulled on anybody's heartstrings. There was nothing really memorable about her story. She didn't have it. So what happened? She got cut off the show, even though she was more talented than everybody else. So if you don't share your story, then you are cutting yourself off from being able to really serve the people that you want in your life. So that's the key point. So you've got to just get with it, get in there, get real, get dirty with it, and share your story with the world. Turn your story into your superpower. Turn your story into the thing that draws people to you the most.
Have you found that when people actually get real and really put their story out there, that's when those massive social media following numbers really start coming?
Oh my gosh. I had this girl, Harper Grace, who came to me at 11 years old. She was just deemed the world's worst national anthem singer. If you Google her name, if you Google up world's worst national anthem singer on YouTube, it will pop up Harper Grusens. So I spent 4 years with her, developing her, creating that brand for her, how to show up in the world with that underlying issue where she was it was brutal. It was literally a brutal situation you can imagine. I can't imagine being an 11-year-old girl going through that. But what happened was that when she showed up on American Idol, that was the first thing that they showed was that world's worst national anthem singer. But what happened was that she knew how to articulate her story. She used her gifts of humor and was able to be so playful about it and handle it with such grace and humor that it turned out to be the #1 watched video that year. And even though she didn't make it to top 10, they brought her back to perform on final night with the final 3. That's how powerful her story was. So, if you tell your story and you share that and turn that into your superpower, I'm telling you, that's what makes people just draw to you. And I can't express it enough how important it is.
So, Jonathan, for people who want to dive deeper with you, how can they get in contact with you?
JonathanGeorge.com, and it's like JonathanGeorge.com. And I've got some freebies on my website to help you dive into how to break through this imposter syndrome. And, we didn't really dive into the imposter syndrome, but, it's that fear of not being good enough. It's the fear of why me when there's 1,000 other coaches out there. That's fear of, I'm comparing my chapter 2 with your chapter 20 or your chapter 10. It's realize to help you break through that imposter syndrome, to realize who you are, who you can serve, and to kind of break through and start understanding your why. And so it's a great tool, and you can get that. There's a couple of tools on there for people to download for free. And also social media. Good grief. I'm on every social media you can imagine. Jonathan George.
I really appreciate it, Jonathan. I do hope that people will learn to break through their imposter syndrome and just show up authentically as the person that they are. Thanks so much for spending
100%.
some time with us today.
Thank you, Steve. And I look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Jonathan and I, since this interview, since we recorded, it was a couple of months ago, we've become really great friends. I just so appreciate Jonathan in my life, and he's going to be on the show in several different more ways when his new book comes out and a whole bunch of other things. I look forward to lots more conversations with Jonathan here on the show. Not the last time you'll hear from him. An amazing branding person that really will help you unleash your inner rock star. I hope that you will check out Jonathan and that you will really embrace the inner rock star in you, that you will believe in you enough to see it, and that with that you will show up and you'll be like, you know what, I am gonna be that jukebox hero in my own life, and I'm gonna live every day as a thriving entrepreneur. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
If you're an author who's on a mission, stand out with your brand out. Check this out, guys. Yep, everything's marketing, and marketing is everything. Your existing book can become a best-selling book, or even, hey, like mine, a #1 international best-selling book in 5 days. Listen, if your business isn't known by everybody, it's obscurity and that's death, right? The same thing is true for your book. If you're not happy with the way your book is performing, you got that far and then it just fell off the face of the planet kind of feeling, go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Schedule a talk with Steve. It's risk-free, it's guaranteed, it's proven. We've done it thousands of times. What are you waiting for? Yes, yourbestsellertoday.com. This time next week, you could have a beautiful seal on your book and get the attention that you deserve. Reach the people that you came to serve. Come on now. What are you waiting for? Grab a pen. Here we go. All you got to do is book a call. Yourbestsellertoday.com. Go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Book a talk with Steve. It's proven. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen. All you have to do is say yes to your destiny.
Welcome back to Thriving Entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome back. Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today as we talk about you. We talk about your unlimited potential, the inner rock star within you. And so now we want to jump into our next interview and really talk about your human potential. Wow, that's such a big one. You have so much potential in you, and a lot of it's untapped. So let's try to tap into it a little bit today, here with an expert, Mia Hewett. Join me in welcoming her. Hi, Mia. Glad to have you here on the show today.
Hey, thanks so much, Steve. It's great to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So just in brief, tell us a little bit about who you are and what's got you to this point in your life.
Absolutely. So I grew up poor, and I was determined not to be poor for the rest of my life. So I made a decision when I was 13. We were so poor that our house was filled with fleas, and they literally sucked the blood out of my dog at the time. And I remember saying, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to be poor. And so then you fast forward, I built a multi-million-dollar brick and mortar business for 24 years. And I didn't understand how it is that I could become wealthy and still doubt myself all the time, still feel like I wasn't good enough to be there, like still feel like, there was something wrong with me. I was always afraid of doing something wrong, or if I was going to do, like I was always questioning myself, like, was that right? Was that right? Did I do that right? Was that wrong? Like constantly. And it haunted me. And so fast forward that, I spent about $500,000 on my own money on coaching. And I've worked with the best in the industry. And I didn't understand, they were doing the best they can, but basically it came down to, they just told me to think differently. And I, just reframed me. And I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, if I could have done that, I would have done that a long time ago. Like, what do you mean? Just think differently. And so what what this resulted in is I found through trial and error of seeing how I could not free myself, I became obsessed that there had to be other people who constantly struggled emotionally. Like I couldn't be the only person that emotionally, I knew logically what to do, Steve. I didn't understand why emotionally I couldn't go there. Have you ever felt that way, or you know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. I know what you mean.
Yeah. And so it was this constant battle between my mind and my emotions. And what I found, and I'm not an overnight success, that took me 6 years of unraveling this because I didn't have anyone showing me how to do this. I found how everything works. And the key is, and I explained it all in my book, they can get a free copy at miameantformorebook.com. Just use the password free book and I'll give it to them for free. But I found in this book, I wrote about it, that in working with hundreds of people now, it's been beta tested. Everybody can break free. I can break anyone free in as little as 8 weeks. That we all have experienced an emotional trauma. So like if you go back and you will see, this is how it works. What happened is we experienced a trauma. So I'm going to use an example of one that I just worked with so I can show you what I'm talking about, because it's going to make really sense. So as a guy, he's 51 years old. Right now his business is, he normally did 5.5 million. Now he's constantly struggling. He's not even barely making 50. Yes, there is a coronavirus. I understand that, but that's not what's stopping him. So when we look into like his best level of thinking is got him to get to 50,000 from 5.5 million. What is the pattern? What is stopping him? So we go back and I ask him, to find the place, this original trauma, which nobody links it together. This is why I never understood what was wrong with me either. But back when he was 8 years old, he was at school. And he remembers that, he used to feel completely part of a group. He was in a group of kids. And this new, cooler kid came into the group. And he felt completely alienated. And so he made the decision back at 8 that he must be uncool, that he was embarrassed, unwanted, imperfect, that there was something wrong with him. That emotional trauma then continues to have an open loop. You know what I mean? Like a pattern where now everything in his life from 8 has been just another version of that experience, but it gets bigger. So then he developed, he started drinking, right? And became addicted to alcohol. Then after that, inside of what he currently has now is he's constantly stressed and has chronic fatigue syndrome. We wouldn't, in our society, we don't see how that could be attached to it, because it's like logically, it doesn't make any sense. He was 8. He's 50. That's not happening to him anymore, right? He's no longer not the cool kid. He owns a big company. Yet inside, he still feels like there's something wrong with him. He's still imperfect and he's still not the cool kid. So it feels like what he's been doing to survive his life is he's had to pretend or feel like an imposter. Does that make sense?
So much so. Wow, that's powerful. And most all of us have those things that we're just still carrying around with that little 5-year-old or 8-year-old or whatever.
100%. And I have found that when we heal that, we literally free that from that experience. And then when we heal it, we literally release the emotional bottling up that we've been carrying around. And it literally creates that release, no longer having that. We're able to take the actions and really see ourselves the way we want to be, because all behaviors are emotional. They're not intellectual. Right? And so when we link the danger that what has happened. And the reason why people are not more successful, right? Success is counterintuitive. I say this all the time as an entrepreneur who's made, built multi-million dollars. I always constantly say it's really counterintuitive. It's backwards. If it was common sense, success would be common. But the reason why it's not common sense is because what takes people out isn't common like sense. Like they don't, because logically he is not in the same place, but here's what he did without realizing it. And this is why we look lovingly at this without any judgment, because he was doing the best he could at 8. But what he did was, in his mind and his brain, he linked what he wanted, his desires, to pain. To pain. And anytime we link what we want, our desires, to pain, we will self-sabotage.
That's so powerful.
And I see this over and over and over again. I have stories upon stories, and once they break free, I have another one I can tell you because it'll really land. This one is an identical twin, two boys, right? And, most of my clients are referred into me. And so he got referred to me as an adult. He came to me from somebody else who had tremendous success with me. So they referred him in. And when I first started talking with him and I said, okay, so tell me what happened to you. And he's like, oh, no, I don't have a trauma. I said, yeah, I know. Everybody says this to me. I said, just amuse me. Take me back. What happened? What is your earliest memory that you have where before this memory, you totally trusted yourself. You trusted others and you trusted life. And then something happened. Something happened to you that you'd never expected that would happen. And it traumatized you in some way emotionally. And then life never was the same after. And then he says, well, there was this time, of course, there always is. And he says, there was this time when I was 3 years old. And my brother and I were sleeping, and my mother comes in and she goes, hurry up, get up. Your father's coming home and he's drunk. I don't want him to hurt you. Go underneath my bed and don't come out until I tell you. So both of the twins go underneath the bed. The brother, it didn't faze him. He didn't think anything about how traumatized his mother was. So he just went to sleep like no big deal. That guy grew up to be hugely successful. This twin was so traumatized because he had never seen in his mind that his dad could hurt him. He never thought his dad could ever do something like that. It traumatized him so much he blacked out. And when he came to, he remembers from that moment on, he became known as the sensitive child, always crying, always feeling like there was something wrong with him or wrong with life, constantly looking over his shoulder for the shoe to drop, something bad to happen. After we healed this, Steve, and within 2 months, he became the #1 salesperson in his company. And then 3 months after that, he opened up his own company. He was consistently the #1 salesman for 4 months in a row. Then he ended up going and opening up his own company.
That is such amazingly cool stuff. So, and I know there's not time to do a whole session right now, probably, but help us out a little bit. How do we, discover that moment and then do something about it as opposed to just then wallowing?
Sure, of course. And it goes in, there's 9 chapters in my book, but it explains it all in my book. But the fastest version I can give you is the fastest way to find it is you just go here and here's the cool thing. Here's how you find it. Because people are always like, but I don't remember. You don't worry. You don't need to remember. This is the cool thing because it's actually not in the mind. The way you access this is you're going to let go of thinking about it. You're not going to try to think about it in the mind. You actually want to feel for it. It actually is in the subconscious mind, which is known as the feeling mind. So you're not going to find it by thinking. You're going to find it by feeling. And here's how you find it by feeling. You just want to close your eyes and then just feel for it. Just remember, what was the time, before your first image, there's going to be an image that pops up. Oh, let me give you one more piece. When the image comes up, which it will, Do not judge it. This is what we do. This is how we stop it, is because, at 51, when the image comes up, we want to judge it from the todays of our life and go, oh, that's ridiculous. That can't be it. No, 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 no. Trust me. It is it. Just allow it to come up, because that's why we don't see it. That's why it's a blind spot. So you have to not judge it when the image comes into your mind. So here's how you do it. You just take a deep breath. You close your eyes. You just ask yourself, what is the earliest feeling place, the earliest memory that I have, where before this image comes up, I totally trusted myself. I trusted others. I trusted life. Like life was all for you. Like you were like, oh my gosh, this is my playground. Like there's nothing that you cannot be, do, or have. Like everything was for you. And then something happened. Something happened that caused you to, like, scared you, caused you to go inward, retract, to feel like, like there was something wrong with you, question yourself, confusion, something around this nature of it feels like, what happened? That's how you can find it. And whatever pops up, we need that information. And then when you get that information, it'll come up. You want to check in. You made 3 important decisions that forever altered your life. You made a decision about you. So you said something to yourself. So you'll ask yourself, after you feel what you felt, you're going to ask yourself, what did you say? I must be what? I must be what? So that's why this gentleman had said, there must be something wrong with me. I must be uncool, unwanted, imperfect. And then you made a second decision about other people then, right? And so you have to ask, what are other people? And then he made the decision, other people are judgmental, but impervious and invulnerable. Like he made other people, everybody else must be happy in themselves except for me. So then when I asked them, the last decision you made is, what did you decide about the world then, that day? And he said, the world became selective, harsh, discriminatory, and a bit shitty. And so then you want to test what you decided, those 3 decisions. When we know we've nailed the pattern in the trap you've been running, it will be pervasive throughout your whole life. Meaning every day, mentally, you will be struggling with it. Emotionally, you will be struggling with it. Physically, it will come out in some form physically. Relationship wise, it will be, you will see it, the pattern always stopping you in relationships from ever feeling fulfilled or loved. Then you will see it again financially. You can see exactly how much this pattern stops you from scaling your business, taking on hiring the right people, putting the right systems in place. Like everything then will show itself from how that pattern is affecting it. Does that make sense, Steve?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
And I'm really enjoying this so much. I'm trying to, be an attentive interviewer, but I really just want to close my eyes and go deep into this myself right now.
Yeah, do it. I know it's so good. It's so good. And you can always get my book and so forth. But it's so important that people see this, because I'm not judging the personal development world or therapists, but I went to 5, in my lifetime in therapy, and I've been with the best and the best in personal development. And so I'm not judging them in saying this, but they don't understand how to find this. And my intention is to just give people the truth that when you can find your original inception, where the original one happened, and you see it created an open loop. What happens that without you, if you look at your life, then you will see the same pattern keeps happening over and over again. Another situation, another face, another place, same freaking pattern, until you close the loop. And once you close the loop and you heal that and you are set free of it, then what you do is you're coming from who you really are. Like, because prior to, I'm going back to this gentleman, because prior to 8 years old, he was not this way. So for, 8 years of his life, he was really who he really was. This way became a way to survive. So what happens to people when they heal this is they literally become free to be themselves. And that's why it's so powerful, because in that way, then they're willing to be seen. They're willing to market themselves. They're willing to hire the best people because they're not afraid of judgment or doing the wrong thing anymore. So the cool news is I don't have a voice that runs anymore. When you heal it, the negative critical voice goes away. It just stops operating.
Man, I don't know anybody that doesn't want that.
Yeah, I know, that's what I wanted my whole life. Yes, so that alone is the best reason to do it.
All right. So Mia, tell us again, how do we get your book and stay in contact with you?
Absolutely. So you can go to my website. It's miahewett.com, and Hewett is spelled, so it's Mia, M-I-A, Hewett, Hewett.com. So miahewett.com. Or you can go get my free book because it's a special place. It's miameantformorebook.com. And the password you just want to use is free book. Just put in free book and you'll automatically get downloaded the free book so that you don't have to purchase it. So it's my gift to your audience members.
We really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
We should probably spend like the next 3 hours talking about all of this, but to be respectful both to the other guests as well as the time frame that I try to keep things in.
Sure.
That's such amazing stuff. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Thank you so much for doing the incredible work you're doing. I saw you're with authors and, helping with the bestsellers and the bestseller guy. I just think it's awesome. So thanks for being you, Steve, and everything you're doing.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks so much for being a guest on the show today.
My pleasure. Have a great day.
Unlock, release, unleash the human potential inside of you. Both the stuff that you know that's in there, as well as all those untapped secret, special things that you haven't taken the time yet to go down in and really see within yourself. You have so much to offer this world. And I really, really do hope that you will release yourself full scale into and on the world to maximize and be the best version of yourself. Because ultimately that's what it means to be a thriving entrepreneur. We're going to take another quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back here on Thriving Entrepreneur.
If you're an author who's on a mission, stand out with your brand out. Check this out, guys. Yep, everything's marketing, and marketing is everything. Your existing book can become a best-selling book, or even, hey, like mine, a #1 international best-selling book in 5 days. Listen, if your business isn't known by everybody, it's obscurity and that's death, right? The same thing is true for your book. If you're not happy with the way your book is performing, you got that far and then it just fell off the face of the planet kind of feeling, go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Schedule a talk with Steve. It's risk-free, it's guaranteed, it's proven. We've done it thousands of times. What are you waiting for? Yes, yourbestsellertoday.com. This time next week, you could have a beautiful seal on your book and get the attention that you deserve. Reach the people that you came to serve. Come on now. What are you waiting for? Grab a pen. Here we go. All you got to do is book a call. Yourbestsellertoday.com. Go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Book a talk with Steve. It's proven. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen. All you have to do is say yes to your destiny.
Welcome back to Thriving Entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome back. Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today. I hope that really we did unleash your inner rock star, that we did help you tap into your unlimited human potential, that you really see some cool things about you. I always feel like when we come down to this final segment, kind of like the end of the Carol Burnett Show, for those of you that are a little older like me and you remember that, and I want to almost sing to you that I'm so glad we had this time together, just to share a laugh or two. It does seem like we just get started and then it's time to say so long. It really is my honor and my privilege to share one of the things that I feel so blessed to be able to do, and that's share the guests with you and have this show that I share with you, even with the fan blowing across the microphone. And I know that there's some pretty serious fan noise tonight across the mic. I appreciate you enduring through it. I hope that my words were soothing to you, and that the challenge that I was throwing out to you today to unleash all that you are, to unlock yourself in a way like maybe you never have before, and to embrace the rock star that you are, the potential that you do have, so that you can make the difference that only you can make in the world. Nobody else is ever going to be you. And there is such a powerful purpose for you. You are uniquely brilliant. You were created for a purpose. And the world does need you. It's not about some big grand thing. I think so often we get caught up in millions. We want to speak and write and talk and share and save the whole world. When in point of fact, all we need to do is just simply reach one. That's more than enough. If all our message ever did was help one person out, that would be so much more than enough. So worth it. Think back in your own life of the people who have made such an impact on you. No, not the bad ones. Think about the ones that were giving you that leg up, that hope, that promise, that belief, that potential. Maybe it was a parent, maybe it was a teacher, maybe it was a total stranger that one day just spoke into your life. Maybe you were in an event and you heard a professional speaker say something. And sure, they have eloquence and they had grace and dignity with how they said it. But it impacted you and it made a difference. For someone, you're that person. You're that voice crying out in the wilderness. Here is the way, walk in it. You are more than enough. And you do need to share your message with the world. I love that song that Lakeisha did for me. I appreciate her so much. Thank you, Lakeisha Michelle, for doing the musical part of the commercial break on each of those. And thank you, Lonnie, for the voiceovers of them. Thank each of you for listening today, for striving every day of your life to be a thriving entrepreneur. Until next time, have a great week.
Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today. If you want to get your question answered, send an email to questions@wehelpyouthrive.com. We look forward to you joining us again next time.
If you're an author who's on a mission, stand out with your brand out. Check this out, guys. Yep, everything's marketing, and marketing is everything. Your existing book can become a best-selling book, or even, hey, like mine, a #1 international best-selling book in 5 days. Listen, if your business isn't known by everybody, it's obscurity, and that's death, right? The same thing is true for your book. If you're not happy with the way your book is performing, you got that far and then it just fell off the face of the planet kind of feeling, go to yourbestsellertoday.com, schedule a talk with Steve, Steve. It's risk-free, it's guaranteed, it's proven. We've done it thousands of times. What are you waiting for? Yes, yourbestsellertoday.com. This time next week, you could have a beautiful seal on your book and get the attention that you deserve. Reach the people that you came to serve. Come on now. What are you waiting for? Grab a pen. Here we go. All you got to do is book a call. yourbestsellertoday.com. Go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Book a talk with Steve. It's proven. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen. All you have to do is say yes to your destiny.